Hello. Today I'm here to discuss Julia Gillard's infamous misogyny speech. In October 2012, former Prime Minister Julia Gillard delivered a powerful speech in which she accused the leader of the opposition, Tony Abbott, of sexism and misogyny. The speech attracted both domestic and international worldwide interest and controversy. Women applauded Gillard for her act of heroism, feminism, or bravery, whatever they called it, while the Australian press condemned her, accused her of playing the gender card. Sexism can be defined as prejudicing, stereotyping, or discrimination against primarily women on the basis of their sex or gender. Misogyny, on the other hand, is a dislike of, contempt for, or ingrained prejudice against women. Australian Prime Minister Julia Gillard's misogyny speech is a rare instance of a woman in a high political office directly accusing her opponent of sexism. This was a speech that would resonate with Australian women and women on an international platform. But the print media was constructing it as illegitimate, ill-conceived, and playing the gender card, or accusing him of something so bold. Sexism and misogyny are both very powerful words, which you don't usually hear used in today's society, so it would make sense that they accuse her of playing the gender card. In a post-feminist media environment, this can be seen as a woman naming sexism as an unfair advantage for her to gain advantage over that male. Gillard's denunciation of sexism in politics comes during a debate about whether the Speaker of the House should resign for sending text messages that degenerated women. Abbott told Gillard that unless she sacked Peter Slipper over the text, she was just as bad as him. Her response was an incredibly powerful rhetoric response that is still iconic to this day. I will not be lectured about sexism and misogyny by this man. She then went on to give evidence against Abbott, such as the leader of the opposition says that people who hold sexist views and who are misogynists are not appropriate for high office. Well, I hope the leader of the opposition has got a piece of paper and is writing out his resignation. It was the first time an Australian leader, and possibly any world leader, had delivered such a forthright and powerful attack on misogyny in public. Gillard cited Abbott's further evidence of being a misogynist in his description of women having abortions as the easy way out, his characterization of Australian women as housewives who did the ironing, and his suggestion that men were better adapted than women to exercise authority and issue commands. On a personal level, she also listed him claiming that Gillard should make an honest woman of herself, and also his position of standing next to signs of her, which described her as a witch or another man's bitch. It's incredibly significant that we have a Prime Minister powerfully state that she has experienced sexism, and even more powerfully state that she refused to ignore it any longer. Sexism is so deeply embedded in the Australian body politic, and will now give women license to express and seek to counter the sexism they experienced in their working lives. According to the Australian Human Rights Commission, 1 in 5 Australian women have experienced sexual harassment in the workplace. 57% of women who work in the media experience sexual harassment, and only 10% of women make up for the top levels of media management, compared to the international rate of 27%. It is going back to the backlash from the media. The backlash generated from her delivery provides indication of what she may be at stake for female leaders who specifically target gender in their discussions. Gillard was also required to account for 3 main issues relating to her gender while she was Prime Minister: how she felt as the first female Prime Minister, the role of personal ambition she had to play to get to Prime Minister, and her perceived lack of not being a traditional social construction of a woman with husband and children. Her abnormal status was treated as an accountable matter, with loads of speakers constructing their descriptions and questions in such a way to hold her culpable and accountable for breaching social norms. and what is understood of the gender category of a woman. Examination of these issues shows that during her 18 months of incumbency, Gillard worked strategically to play down her gender as inconsequential to her role as Prime Minister. Her use of the rhetoric in regards to Tony Abbott also gives evidence that she was willing to stand up for that and stand up for her rights as a woman, despite her downplaying of the gender, which is a rare instance in her role as Prime Minister. Throughout the time, she uses evidence against Abbott and has direct, clear, concise points to give her argument. Arguably, though, her first 5 minutes of her speech are incredibly potent, incredibly powerful, full of, this man is a misogynist. I will not be lectured by him. However, after that, she sort of dwindles a little bit and it doesn't have the same powerful message that it had before. It doesn't quite reinforce the ideology of feminism as opposed to the dominant ideology of the socially constructed female. Thank you.